The Frame Center Podcast.
Hi and hello there everybody, this is Scott speaking. You know you're used to hearing Dave at this point in the recording, but I was not present during the filming of this episode, and just wanted to let you know that you'll be hearing a little different audio quality this time. They tried a different setup while I was away, so if you hear some mic scratches and things like that, it's perfectly normal, and we'll try to get that fixed up for the next episode. Alright, let's turn this over to Dave now.
All right, welcome to the Frame Center Podcast. This is the new podcast setup. We got the 2022 wrap-up episode right here, and unfortunately, Scott's out. He's been battling some illness after the Christmas rush, and instead of Scott today, it's just going to be me and Elizabeth. We're going to be recapping the guests we had, and I don't know, here we go. How do you feel about being in front of the camera, Elizabeth?
I think it's good for the wrap-up. I come out for the first time. I'm not behind the camera.
Yeah.
I mean...
Now look at the camera, you know. So unfortunately Scott couldn't make it. I don't know what Scott's favorite episode of the year was.
Hey guys, quick editor's notes here. While I couldn't be there present for the recording, I thought I'd drop a few notes here and there. As for Dave asking what my favorite episode was for the season, I'd have to say the one with the Living Crew magazine. It was a lot of good back and forth, and for once my useless movie trivia knowledge paid off.
But we did have some great guests. It was a lot of fun recording the podcast. We had a really great response to it, I think, and I'm excited about going forward into 2023 and having some more guests in. We already have a bunch of guests lined up, people I'm excited to talk to. We have these new chairs. I know you are a big fan of the chairs.
Especially picked out.
So yeah, we're going to get the Frame Center sign back up here at some point. It's a little more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed.
Definitely more comfortable than the wooden stool.
Yep. So the Frame Center Podcast moving forward into 2023, a little bit more relaxed setting, a little bit more comfortable chairs, and more exciting guests. I mean, we had some guests on that I feel bad that we were still kind of getting used to what we were doing, and I think Sean and Mike, they kind of were a good test case, so we're going to definitely have to have them back in on, for 2023. Talk to them again. I thought Mike has some great stories to tell, and, he's a great photographer. We've recorded a couple of YouTube videos. I know you were finished recording another, and hopefully record some more with him. So that'll be fun, and we'll get him in to talk about that. We'll get Sean back in to talk more about, ratios and resolution and all sorts of things that people need to know about, as well as like some fun stories that he has about shooting stuff, and, questions we can ask them. And maybe we'll open it up to guests. I know you take some photographs from time to time. Maybe you can ask him some questions so we can get even better at that. So a lot of exciting guests lined up for 2023, talking to artists. Anything that people want us to ask, they can, certainly send me a message. And, if there's certain things that people want to know about people's processes, or just questions that they have for artists about artwork. I'm also looking forward to talking to some people in 2023 about buying artwork and being comfortable buying artwork, because I think that's a big part of what this is about, like stories behind art, stories behind paintings, and stories behind reasons of why people want to buy those paintings. So how's your art collection coming?
Well, I'm 23 and don't have an art collection.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get to some people's houses, maybe make the podcast a little mobile and go get the stories behind the art that either artists have or artists have from other artists, and why they pick what they pick, and what it means to them. I think is definitely.
Yeah, we had a fun segment, ending the segments asking people about what they liked in their homes, or some of their favorite pieces, and we got some insight into seeing what people have. I think that's fun. We did get to take the show on the road for Jody Regan's, after Jody was in, and she was awesome to have on, awesome to talk to. had a lot to say, brought a lot to the table, and then she reached out about kind of doing something on location for her show, which was a huge success. I wouldn't be at all surprised if she sold everything that was there. But hopefully we'll get that pushed out soon, and before her show ends. But that was fun anyway, and I think would be interesting for some people to hear. It was certainly interesting for me.
No, it definitely was. Like being there in person, hearing it from her. Like she literally went through every single piece, almost. I think that was up on that wall, which was like what? How many pieces was that?
I think she had 72. I think that's what and we'll be hopefully we'll be framing that to scale graph paper in some images in there.
Perfectly to scale with each board that she used with each piece of art.
Yeah.
Completely with the graph paper. Like she definitely was a math teacher for all those years.
Yeah, she was interesting. I think that was a lot of fun, and I certainly want to just frame that up for her. I think that's going to be a great Free Frame Friday for the 2023. A nice frame job for Jody for letting us be a part of that, and helping us kind of take the podcast mobile for the first time.
I know, it definitely was the first time, and the next times will be better.
Yeah, well, we're learning as we go, so these, we'll get this perfected at some point. We had some great guests in. We had some business owners in. Janine Alpert from Sable Boutique. I thought that was a lot of fun, and Melissa from Hale Bone Broth, which was, I didn't get to try the bone broth, but
it was very good.
It was, and they were a lot of fun to talk to as well. Maybe when we have some business owners in going forward, we'll push them more and ask questions about them, the buying artwork and their connection to the arts. We had Marcy and Bridget from Living Crew in. That was an awesome conversation. I feel like we could have talked to them forever. When we get done, praising Claude and how much everyone likes working with him. It was fun to get their insight on things, and as we continue to advertise with them, like the partnership angle, I think that's so important. More so even just with them, like with other businesses that we hope to go out and talk to over the talk to the business owners, but also feature them on our social media.
Some of those businesses that we went and visited and want to take pictures and promote them, would be great to have some of those owners on the podcast as well.
Yeah, I think that would be fun,
or maybe we bring it to them. Either way.
Yeah, once we nail down the mobile podcast, I think that'll be fun to do. We had Rita on for Halloween. I don't think we didn't get it out as quickly as we had hoped. Maybe we need to shoot the stuff a little bit sooner, but that was, I thought, an awesome conversation, listening to the spirit artist and somebody that I've known forever that I was really, it's just fun to talk to. Who else did we have on? We had Karen Cass. She was another one that was early in our podcasting career. So, we probably could get a little bit better, but I know she'll be back when Hanover Days comes around again. So we'll get her back on, and she'll get a more experienced Frame Center podcast crew.
A little more polished.
Yeah, polished. That's probably a nice way to put it. Yeah. Carrie O'Donnell was in. Lara Williams was in. They were both awesome. Bettina was in. She was a lot of fun to talk to. I wish she had been more willing to open up and tell some of the stories from the beginning of the Frame Center and her times dealing with my father. He claims he'll come in.
I know, why don't we have him on the podcast?
He wants 5,000 followers. He says he's only coming in when so we got to really bump up our subscribers,
so everyone can share this and make sure you're following. So
yeah, exactly. I think he'd be. He said he's only coming in if there's a bigger audience. He doesn't want to. We need to build our audience to get him in. But we have some other people that will be fun to talk to this year. Hopefully, we'll get Ross in. I know we've been sending.
Delay.
Yeah, he talked a lot. He said about he would come in. he was building it up, and then when we called him on it, yeah, he must have got a little nervous. I think the
Stage fright.
Ross
gets nervous.
Yeah, apparently Ross got a little nervous. Maybe it was the new chairs, the new setup. He wants a little intimidated about the this new podcast setting, the more relaxed podcast, the after hours podcast. But who knows?
He was nervous you were going to have him shoot pucks and he was going to miss.
Yeah. I mean, that could be it. Shooting pucks has been a lot of fun this year. We get some, got some pros down here. Made some of us look bad. We did get to shoot at pictures of Ross. That was kind of like having him here. Hopefully that continues. We've got some nets lined up. Hopefully we're going to have some real hockey nets out back so that they're not blowing away in the wind. Let's see. Who else do we have in here? We had a mother and daughter team, Cindy and Jenna. That was odd. How did I forget about them? That was like one of my favorite conversations.
I was MIA. There was a schedule conflict for that one for me.
You missed that one? That one was fun. I thought that Cindy and Jenna were great to talk to. That was a little tricky too, and it was hard too when Marcy and Bridget were here, and there's like 4 people because it's almost like there's 2 single conversations going.
I feel like this will maybe eliminate that a little bit.
Yeah, I do see in like some of the videos, it's kind
of like you're looking like.
Yeah, well, I'm so engaging, and then I feel bad because then they're avoiding Scott. People are turning their backs to Scott, and now in this more circular format, maybe people won't. They won't be ignoring Scott when the time comes, and he'll get to be more involved in the conversation.
He's gonna take over for you.
Yeah. Well, not that, or you are. You're kind of the up and coming podcast star of the Frame Center.
This is my preview for 2023.
2023. Yeah, and I think that the podcast fans have spoken. They want to hear more Elizabeth. Yeah. So that should be exciting. I don't know. Trying to think of some of my favorite moments on there. I think Rita was great. Jody was great, and helped us with the next step.
I thought was really cool. Lara Williams brought in like a lot of her supplies. That was really neat. I mean, if we have more artists on, obviously we will. Having them maybe bring in pieces we can show or put up, or just see some of their stuff. Like, she has such a unique medium that she uses. Yeah,
the encaustics are still puzzling to me, but I think that that was cool that she brought in all that stuff, and explaining the stuff I think is like a nice aspect for the podcast. Like, I think that maybe that's what some people are interested to we're teaching people stuff. Bringing value. Exactly. We're bringing value, and we're not only are we inspiring people to buy art, but I think trying to make it less intimidating for them to make art purchases, but like having an understanding of like what an encaustic is. I think that's kind of cool, and like the whole process, I don't know. I mean, all of these conversations have been fun for me, and talking to these people. And now we're just recording it and like kind of sharing it with others. So I don't know. I think that's a cool aspect. And I think hopefully it kind of continues in that road, down that road. But a lot of fun guests. Lara, you thought was one of the more interesting ones.
Having Melissa on, that was like different. She's more of like a business owner, and like that was really nice to hear about like the community and the Hanover Farmers Market, and like how her bone broth and everything that she's done with that. However long that's doing it.
Yeah, and I think she's been doing it for a while, and I'm sure that she'll no doubt be back next year when the farmers market kicks back up, so we can promote the farmers market, because I think a big piece of what we're trying to do with the social media that we talk about, it's like it's really not just some of these people are already tuned into us, so exposing them to other things that are great inside of the community, like the farmers market, like the like a business like Janine's, like a fashion, a fashion-focused business, like, clothes. I mean, that's kind of like art in a sense. Foods, like growing food's kind of an art. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is. Making food's kind of an art. So maybe we'll get some, some people in, like, that are tied into that sort of thing. But I don't know, exposing other people from, exposing people to, other artists and, other things, I think is kind of a fun tie-in, and having that like art tie-in or purchasing of art tie-in is kind of, a cool way to do it. So
I definitely feel like, at least I hope anyways, that hearing from all these artists, like, people kind of get to know each other a little better too, and like bring everyone together. They're all artists on the South Shore. Maybe they see each other at each other's art at like shows, but they never really gotten the chance to hear from them or really talk to them or get to know them at all. And like, maybe this will bringing more of that.
I think that, I mean, obviously, if you know something about somebody or you have some insight into them, like when it makes them either more desirable to talk to if you have something in common, like, oh, I was on the Frame Center podcast too. What a strange coincidence. But there's something more relatable, or you're getting like having a little insight into somebody's personality, I think makes like buying their art a little bit easier, or, maybe it's just, they're more relatable, and like, then you see their art and you want to actually have it. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, at the very least, I get to have conversations with people I'm interested in talking to, in learning more about, and I'll buy their art. I mean, I ended up with 2 pieces from Jody's show, and to me, I went back and forth. The North River one, like which was there, like when as soon as I saw it and realized what it was, and then I was like, that's like
you had to have that.
Like, that one. That one. I'm glad it was still available. That one, like I had to have, because that was, like a show that I hung, and it's kind of like, and I was a part of, in that art association I was a part of with Jody for a long period of time, and still support as she does. So that one I had to have, but like talking to her about a couple of the other pieces, I was kind of back and forth, because I went there with the intention of getting, buying at least one piece, right. And I thought I wanted like one of her cityscapes, because I really like the motion and like the way she does the line drawings and the like urban scenes, and I ended up with something, the like, North River one was different, but then I bought the one.
It's like a rooftop?
The rooftop. Yeah. It was like, I think it was like Room with a View or something. It was something along that lines was the title, but it was like, just looking over some buildings, because I seem to be stuck on like buildings and structures recently while I'm buying artwork. Maybe we'll get to, maybe the podcast will, we'll see your first art purchase. There's still artwork hanging here.
I've thought about like a couple shows that have come through here. I'm like, should I buy this? I'm like, I don't have a house.
Yeah. Well, I think I think if it's affordable, it might not necessarily. You might not necessarily need to like have this space to actually put it. Because I'll give you some words of wisdom. I still remember like a couple pieces of artwork that I wanted to buy, and now like they've grown in my head. Like they were like these amazing. They might not have even been, but like I remember one piece that I like really wanted to buy down in Provincetown. It was like I have something similar, but not even close to like what this thing is in my head. But it was just a photograph, and it was the person had done a series of photographs into reflections, like into like puddles and stuff like that, and they were like really cool, and I hadn't seen anything like that at the time before, and I kind of like regret not buying that, because it was like, at the time a little bit more than I was willing to spend. I'm sure now it would be like I'd absolutely buy, would pay that kind of money for artwork. As I've become such a
an art
heavy,
collector,
an art collector. I think I have a fairly great. I think I have a pretty good collection of different artists from the South Shore, and I'm super excited about kind of sharing some of that stuff with our. I don't know if that'll be considered the podcast, or if that's Frame Center Cribs, or
Frame Center Cribs. Welcome to my art.
I'm kind of leaning towards the stories behind the artwork. I don't know.
Stories behind it,
anyone listening that has suggestions on this,
Someone give us a real name,
a good
please.
name. We'll give you full credit. We'll even have you on the podcast and be like, "Hi, this is the person that came up with the name." But I'm excited about showing some of my artwork and telling the stories behind it, and then, kind of much like we did with Jody, like, either talking to people about the stories behind like the creation aspect of it, but also stories behind artwork, and even stuff that's hanging in people's homes, because I think there's so many like interesting stories potentially behind stuff. And maybe we'll even hear a story about something that doesn't look like much on someone's wall, or like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, these stories are just behind original artwork, but maybe there's like that thing that was, bought at, just a standard store. It's just like a print that, it doesn't look like much, but the significance of it is like the fact that it was like hanging in somebody's mother's house, or like their and it's just been in the family forever. Maybe you freshen it up with a better frame, but I think that there's stories like that are behind things that are hanging. And I think anything that's hanging, if there's a story, there's more depth behind it, I think it's just so much more interesting. But who knows? I could be crazy.
Maybe no one wants to listen to that.
Yeah, no one wants to listen to anything I have to say. Yeah, but maybe they do. Who knows? We'll see in 2023. We'll see what, I think if people keep listening and people keep giving the feedback that they have so far, with the first couple months. I mean, we did have the layoff in December because things are a little crazy around here, but I think we're coming back strong in January, and it'll be fun to, talk to more people. It'd be fun to have Elizabeth in front of the camera, Maybe Scott, maybe you guys will be splitting time. That, or maybe you'll push me out, and it'll just be you and Scott.
You're gone.
I can't figure out how to use any of this equipment, so I don't think I'll be of any significance behind the scenes. But
just have to push the red button.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for filling Scott's shoes, and again, the Frame Center podcast is all about the feedback, So
let's hear.
Let's hear. Let me know, what you think. I mean, is Elizabeth, is she pushing Scott out, or is this going to be a 3-person podcast, or we're gonna, maybe your voice will be heard a little bit more? I think that people want to hear your thoughts, and I think people will be excited to hear about your art purchases. Maybe you buy something from this show, from the Frame Center Holiday Show, which was a big success.
Stay tuned for my first art purchase.
Yeah, and then we can talk about the story. We can tell the story behind it and why you liked it and why you ended up buying it. I think that those stories are fun, and hopefully will inspire other people to buy artwork. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up with a piece and someone just gives it to you.
Right.
Yeah, but hopefully you like it if that's the case. Maybe Sean will give you this piece over there. Who knows? Anyway, that's it for the Frame Center podcast in 2022. We're looking forward to a lot of fun guests in 2023. I've said that once or twice. We're looking for more Scott, more Elizabeth, more going to people's homes, more talking to people off site, and more talking about art, because I think it's awesome. And who knows? That's it. All right, take us out, Elizabeth.
See you all in 2023.
All right, see ya.